Yes, that's the sound of an airplane taking off. You can hear, because I've been in the UK to record a big interview with Brian McClure, which was utterly fantastic. But that's me distracted because I didn't come on your feed to tell you that. I came on your feed to warn you that Christian Fuchs Part 2 is coming out now. Why Ranieri sent Tim to New York and why that helped Leicester win the title. Why Christian Fuchs wanted to kiss Eden Hazard's feet. And why there are no fucks given at all by Christian. You enjoyed the first part. I think the second part's even better. Yeah, Brian McClare's coming down the line soon, but for the moment, think Leicester, think title, think the big interview with Christian Fuchs. Football ruined Antigua for you because you're trying to have a quiet drink on the beach and the man who's signed you get sacked.
Hey, I met him just recently.
No.
I met him just recently.
Okay.
For the first time.
That's
the first time I spoke to him.
That's what I wanted to know, because, you know, in your life there are lots of little twists and turns that could be negative, being told as a youngster you're not going to make it, or the things we've already talked about, injury, whatever. And that could have been like a bad thing. Yet here you are these years later, champion of England, came very close to a Champions League semi-final, a business magnate with your own creative brand of design and clothes, lots of other projects. And a spark for that is Nigel Pearson phoning you.
It was a funny situation, yeah.
It was. Okay, tell it the other way around, because I've got a question to ask you. You met him and how did it go?
We had a pre-season fixture against Leuven. And it's the first time that I literally met him in person, and yeah, we had a chat for 5 minutes. I said, hey, thank you for signing me, even though I never worked with you, but thanks for making all that possible. And yeah, very nice guy, honestly. I mean, I don't know how it is when I work with him, but yeah, the story that we share, even though we didn't do anything together, is fantastic from my perspective.
Retrospectively, you know, although I wasn't phoning them saying sign Christian Fuchs for Leicester, it makes sense the way that you play, for the style of the team and what they were building. It makes sense that their scouting identified you. You can see that retrospectively. But you've said, and I've never heard the detail of this, that when he phoned you, he didn't just not persuade you, he convinced you. The things he said sold you an idea of the project, the football. I'd like to understand what he said to you, because my proposition is that by the time he's sacked and you're training in Austria under Ranieri, famously Ranieri says nothing for 4 or 5 days and then goes, everything's fine. And he was giving a big tick to Pearson's plans, the very thing that he was selling you on the telephone. So how did the conversation go, first of all?
Oh, that's 4 years back in time, man.
Broadly. You've got every detail, I know you do.
Well, we were talking about how he wants to play, what tactics, what style of football, what the goals are, obviously. And I mean, my goal was to play in the Premier League. And he just made me feel appreciated. He made me feel comfortable right away on the phone. I think that's one of the main things that you need as a footballer. Yeah, you need the tactics, you need the skills, you need to have all those informations, but I think the major part is about how you treat people, how you manage them, because you need to feel comfortable in order to perform on the highest level for you personally. And I felt that right away. It didn't go too much into like too many details. Obviously, we didn't work together yet. I didn't sign yet, so there was nothing there to talk about. But we spoke about philosophy, what they're aiming for, and that he really, really wants me. And the second the manager gives me that feeling, I'm all for it. And awkwardly, I never saw him up. That was 3 years ago now. Awkwardly, I never saw him until 3 years later when we played obviously that fixture. But listen, he signed me. I'm very happy he did, even though I never worked with him. Yeah,
it was a good phone call.
It was a great 2 phone calls.
Maybe I'm overcomplicating it, but like you know, I watched you play in the Bernabeu before you left. You know, you went there, scored and won 4-3 against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought of him, but you were working for a Champions League winning manager on that day, Robbie Di Matteo. You famously want to get your act to Manhattan as soon as you can, but you wanted one last contract, and you signed for a team that had just escaped relegation. And therefore, I'm not saying that there's an imbalance in what you've explained, but you were taking a risk.
But that's what Nigel Pearson told me. He told me, listen, we won the Premier League now. We want to win the Premier League now. So I said, okay, sign me, and we're good.
Whoa. Whoa. Like, you couldn't remember the phone call a minute ago. He didn't use that phrase. He didn't use that phrase. We can pretend he did.
But afterwards, that's what it is. Honestly, all the truth. They needed me to win the Premier League. That's why he wanted to.
No, we know that's true now.
No, that's
now
very
we know
true. It's very true. I mean, that's why it is. That's why it is.
I believe you.
No. Listen, yeah. For me, it was about getting into the Premier League. Nobody could expect what happened after, but again,
it didn't feel like a risk. Like my one big throw of the dice, and I'm gonna put everything on. Leicester.
No, but we all know how hard it is when you get promoted to maintain Premier League status. And Leicester did it in an awkward manner, in a typical Leicester manner.
Good point.
And for me then it was like, okay, talking to my agent and explaining the situation to me as well, and what the setup is in the Premier League, and that the first year is obviously always the toughest one, but then they had this run, and then for me it was like, okay, they maintain Premier League status, so they will also obviously invest money to keep that status, and well, gotta say they invested the money in the very right way, so after that, we were Premier League champion. It's insane, yeah.
You're still scratching your head even when you say it.
It's insane. I mean, you're barely relegated. I mean, they showed the table, like, when was that, March or so, where the year before, Leicester was all the way down.
It's done.
The year after, they were all the way
up.
A point difference of, I think, 60 points or so, which is ridiculous. Come on, give me a break. It doesn't happen.
But when the owners sit down with Steve Cutner to negotiate Ranieri's deal to take over, they agree the salary, and they go, okay, we like his CV. Look, he's always just about, but the salary's this. And then they go, so go away and think about it. He goes away and thinks about it, talks to Claudio, phones him in Rome because he's home visiting his mum, says, come over. The job's there, and the salary isn't good. And then they say, okay, and then the bonus for finishing top 10, they say this, then the bonus for finishing top 5, and they're already laughing. And the agent, Steve, says, and the bonus for finishing first, and he says, write your own number. Make your own number up. That's how much the owners thought about the chances of top 5, top 6, top 7.
They're still happy about it, don't worry. They're still happy about it.
But they signed, like, on the basis of, this is a guy whose CV we like, even though he hasn't won many things, but he's been there or thereabouts. And what always fascinates me is you saying that the most important thing Claudio did when he came in was to watch and listen in training, in pre-season training, and not touch anything.
It felt really good. Also my first trainings when we... Oh, you hear the clapping?
I think it's organised by Claudio.
Yeah, of course.
This is your third birthday visit from him.
Also my first impression when I joined the training in the camp in Austria was that this feels really good. This is really, the training intensity quality is really good, and I think that's why I said I think he did well by not changing too much, and a big bonus to him also about how he managed the players. Again, I want to come back to what I said before, that he had this personal touch and he made every player feel appreciated, which for me is a big piece in the whole puzzle of winning the Premier League then.
Like, for example, he sends you home to Manhattan and says, take some time off.
Yeah, I had a red card. Also, he was on the way out from the training ground, just about to exit the gate, and I was like, come on, I need to use this chance now to see him. I was on 5 yellow suspension.
For too many yellows.
So I said to him, listen, Gaffer, I cannot play this weekend. Can I go to see my family? He's like, yeah, take 5 days off. 5 days off, came back, played, won, fine. all good.
But that really mattered to you, like his gesture that that you weren't just an employee or a dot on a board. You were a guy.
You got to understand, every person, is it footballer, is it anybody else, everybody has different needs. And when you take care of those needs as much as you can, obviously not everything is possible. I mean, I would love to live there and still play here and just come for the games and train over there. It's not possible, but I think the second you see that the manager is looking after you and is trying everything in his power to make it possible for you to see your family or come after your needs, that you appreciate and you give back more. You're willing to give back more.
That concept, you give more, that's always interesting to me, because they use psychologists to get the extra, or sometimes you see squads more, that possibility that there is more to give. That doesn't mean that any footballer is hiding something. It's impossible to be 100% all the time, or define that. When you say, I gave more because he gave me something.
Well, everybody's expecting footballers to always give 100%. But as we all know, for whatever reason it is, may it be personal, you name it, they affect you. I mean, we are people made out of meat, blood, whatever it is. And you have situations that make you feel good. And then we all know that then you feel like, oh yeah, you can climb the highest mountain right away. Or then you have situations in life where things are not going that well and you feel groggy, you feel tired, heavy. The same with us. I mean that's just normal, that's just human, and that you can do a lot with all those things, and giving your players more freedom, giving them the appreciation, showing up to birthdays twice. All those things, they matter a lot.
You said we all know. You start by saying, and people don't. Journalists, fans, they don't always understand it.
They assume that we have to work no matter what. We have to be on 100% all the time. But listen, it's the same with journalists. Okay, if you feel sick, you cannot perform. You cannot write properly. It's the same with them. So I'm not charging any journalist if he... See, I like, for example, when I'm reading an article. Okay, there was an Austrian from an Austrian newspaper, an article writing about me and that I didn't play or didn't perform well or whatsoever. In this article, I found, without reading it too much in detail, I found four or five mistypes. Now I should write an article about him making so many mistakes in writing, which is his profession. I'm not doing that. It's none of my business. It's fair enough. We're all human, we all make mistakes.
You say it, and it's true, but what as football goes away from what he and I grew up watching, where characters were encouraged, and therefore you could see happiness or exuberance or unhappiness more, the way that it's marketed now is more homogenous, it's more robotic, and people are taught to expect that footballers are kind of breed, like a toy, that you wind them up, and if you play with them for a couple of hours, you put them in the cupboard, and they're just there until you take them out again, and they can play 11 months of the year. And
toys also run out of battery.
We know that, but people, and also I'm talking about TV companies, advertisers, sponsors, clubs. They're beginning not to think about that properly anymore. The sports science allows us to do all this with players now, so let's do it. Well, okay, just because we can do it doesn't mean it is good. And emotions and energy are just run down to bare minimum. Now, I think, there'll be a lot of players that you don't watch so much football as we do. There's going to be a lot of players now who have had 12 days holidays after the World Cup. And
that's nothing.
But why aren't you perfect now after 12 days of break, man? That's...
It's a long Premier League season with a long World Cup where they do another pre-season where they're together for 5, 6, 7 weeks. It's very tiring.
But we expect them to be creative and clever and inventive and...
Yeah.
But when...
It sounds like, like what's that, Star Trek, where you just go into a little tunnel or whatever and they fix you right away. It's not like
Correct.
Come on, give me a break.
People think like that. We will give you a break.
When?
Not for a long time. This is like a contract.
Oh man, I'm not a robot. Come on.
No. Okay. Well, let's give you a happy theme. When you won the title, I put it to you, Christian Fuchs, that a huge part of the build and the atmosphere and the momentum owed to people like you, but you particularly in this interview in relationship with the crowd, that you were somebody who naturally connects with the crowd, and that how you react or a smile or a fist bump or whatever, it's a part of the special thing that happened at 5,000 to 1 or 50,000 to 1 or whatever it is. You knew that was important during the push for the title, within the dressing room with your teammates and with the fans as well?
I just had fun. I didn't know we were going to win the title. Come on, I didn't even expect winning the title when we're in Jamie's house and Tottenham was playing Chelsea. I didn't expect it even then. For me, Tottenham was all the time the favorite to win the title, and I'm very honest about that. Very honest. But then when it happened, come on, happy days. Seriously, I was wishing for Chelsea to win or to draw, or take away points from Tottenham. Of course, I mean, it makes me Premier League champion. But up until then, I mean, this was. I quoted it already several times, but I think that just describes this evening at Vardy's house the best, that it was the toughest 90 minutes I've never played. So the next day I was completely tired. It was just constant tension.
Nervous energy.
Nervous, very nervous. Sitting, standing, laying, I don't know, sitting on the floor, running around, walking. I couldn't find a position to watch the game because it meant everything to us. I mean, this could be the 90 minutes that crown us Premier League champion, and obviously it did.
But as the game went on, you could see Spurs tiring, I'm sure.
I can see them getting rough. Yeah. They were disappointed, they were frustrated, where I was like, that could be it. 10 minutes to go. Hazard scoring, I want to kiss his feet.
Did you ever kiss his boots?
I told him I want to, but we never made it. I really told him when we then had the last game at Chelsea, I told him after the game or whenever, I want to kiss your boots, but it didn't work out.
He's a listener, so I'll maybe get him to send some boots.
They were, I don't like to kiss. I think he's on Nike, I don't like to kiss.
Bonus time. Yeah, but okay, then the atmosphere. Then you don't retrospectively think that the way that you connected with the crowd, not just you, maybe everybody, certainly Ranieri, that was an element in the triumph when you look back on it, because the noise, the conviction that I watched at Simeone's at Leicester when they won the title in 2014, which isn't as strange as Leicester, but often I wrote about with no mistypes. It's almost certain. Ish. It's almost impossible to see a club where the president, the staff, the players, the media who support them, and the fans are all singing the same, believing the same mentality, urging each other on, bringing the best out of each other. When you see that, it's really powerful. Big clubs, huge clubs don't need that. They need to get the signing policy right. The coach-player relationship has to be good. Yeah. Because they've got such a big budget and big talent, they don't need that same thing. If the fans applaud, it's good. But Leicester and Simeone's Atleti, it felt like everything was together. And the relationship between the players in the dressing room, the fun or the jokes or the videos or whatever, but also the way that the fans felt that you were, like, for example, we invest our personal identities in the teams we support. But then when they give you something back, not a title, but they notice that you're there or they do something that connects with you, the fans become a weapon.
I believe,
right or wrong?
No, right. Absolutely right. You answered your own question already. But
you felt a part, looking back, that was important?
I believe so, yeah. Like I said, there are so many, football is so versatile. There are so many different factors, so many different puzzle pieces that you gotta put together to get the greater picture. But I think everything that supports the group, the atmosphere, is important. And yeah, the videos that I did, the fun that I had with my teammates. I believe it was a part of that, even if it's a small part. But the small things can change a lot.
It counts. How did that atmosphere or the King Power atmosphere in the really big games compare to winning Ruhr derbies, for example, which I think was your competitive debut for Schalke, to win one where the two clubs, they don't like each other.
Not really, no.
Dortmund is, of the two, I hate to say it to your face, maybe a little bit more successful and bigger.
Yeah, it is.
But like,
you have the bigger stadium.
One time I did TV work on the pitch at of Schalke with the roof closed.
For me, Schalke is the best stadium in Germany. It's by far very modern, very cool, very nice.
And the fans? I'm comparing your relationship with the Leicester fans, maybe your relationship with the Schalke fans, but also the mentality. They feel that they're the 12th man as well.
It's their life. It's their life. They spend definitely a quarter of their annual salary on tickets and on merch and whatever. So I understand that they're very demanding, very critical, but they give everything for the club, everything. And the atmosphere, obviously, in Germany is different compared to the English atmosphere. It's maybe a lot more aggressive, but a lot louder.
Yeah,
it is. Where I gotta say that our fans in the King Power, obviously with the clappers that we have, is also different to most of the stadiums in England. Much louder, I believe. Positive, which is very vital for us players, because with negative energy, even if something doesn't work out, we also had this in the last seasons, then you don't need anybody booing at you. You know already that you're shit. You know already that you're not doing it, that you're not performing well enough. But then you need the support, and then you don't need the boos or the whistling or whatever. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the whole situations. We're all trying to be successful as team, fans, players. Then you got to support each other, and you feel that support from the stands.
So sometimes it'll carry you through a tough spot. The intense support you might get out of Schalke or King Power.
Yeah.
And those memories, because you consistently beat Klopp's side, not just in the Super Cup, but also in the league, 1-0, 2-1. There was quite a lot of victories while you were there. Just describe that rivalry and whether you did or didn't enjoy that, because it seems to me perfect for you.
The best win we had against Dortmund was away at Dortmund. That is magnificent. That simply tops everything. We were winning 2-0 away. You're in a stadium, 85,000 people, 5,000 of your own team, 80,000 all against you. Everybody's whistling at you. Obviously, when you get out after the game, they were quiet. Beautiful.
It's a good feeling.
It was such. And that particular game, all our fans, they had like white hats on. Don't tell me what reason, but they all were wearing white hats.
So against a wall of yellow and black, you could see the white hat guys are our guys.
Exactly.
Well, it was nice to be able to celebrate with them. Yeah. You've got, so Klopp's over here, you like what he does with the fan culture at Liverpool, but you didn't work for him. You worked for Tuchel, though?
Tuchel, yeah.
On Mainz?
Yeah.
Not a huge amount of experience with him, but still...
It was the most impactful experience in my career.
Because?
Knowledge. Football knowledge. One of the best, if not the best, manager I worked with in terms of tactics, knowledge, how to prepare for teams. He made you feel like we could beat anybody, and we did.
You finished 5th under him, right? For Mainz,
yeah.
That's something.
It's like we're in the Premier League with Leicester.
It is.
It is, and it felt very similar.
You mean ideas and atmosphere and team spirit?
Exactly. So yeah, that was a very impactful year for me as a player for Mainz that year. He shaped the left defender, Christian Fuchs. Wherein before I was left defender, which was okay, but he got me a couple more steps further up the line.
More strategic knowledge, more liberty to go forward?
Both, all of that.
Because he likes his team to be in charge of the game, offensive, have the ball, and not use it vertically, but use it aggressively to win.
Yeah. always pressing, always defending on the front foot,
Yeah.
guiding the game, knowing what every teammate does at every second of the game. It was being brave, like I said, defending on the front foot.
It's potentially exciting if you mix the talents he's got at Paris Saint-Germain with his age, energy, ability, mentality
It will
now.
be very interesting to see, yeah.
Did the Premier League miss out in not signing him when he was free?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
The businessman inside who's been unleashed.
Where are we starting?
Your videos are brilliant. People want the T-shirt that you produce for the videos, and now you're a fashion magnate. You're a designer. You're in charge of your own brand.
Let's go a couple more steps back. That's not a magnet.
A choice between 18 different colours.
I want to.
50 different garments.
Oh, more.
Hoodies, T-shirt, tracksuits.
More.
and people I like the identity. I like the brand identity.
Yeah, you were looking right now for it, but I'm wearing a neutral T-shirt.
Yeah, man. Okay, we didn't need to say that. We could have lied. It'd be the only lie in the entire series, but we could have lied. You're looking good in your gear today.
No, lying is not.
It's not for either of us.
No.
Tell people it's no fuchs given. Every brand must have true values, otherwise people see through it. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
It's about brand identity
and it being
telling
true.
A story. Yeah,
Tell us about yours and why it's true.
I just don't give a fuchs. I'm the only Premier League player that can legally curse. It is.
Sort of.
It is.
It goes beyond that.
You know, you get problems if you get problems with the FA, and you can even get penalized for games, right? If you
for swearing
on social media. So if I say I don't give a fuchs, yeah, because you are a role model for kids out there. So if I say I don't give a fuchs, or fuchs it, it's not a curse. It is not a curse. And if they ban me for saying my name,
we're going to court, baby.
I will, because they have no right. It's my name. I can use my name however I want it, and I'm not swearing. I'm just using my name. Fuchs and it, and no cursing. It's 2 words. It's not a curse. The message I want to send to people, I want to give people is to simply enjoy their life. Enjoy their life. Not to give too many fuchs about small things in life that really don't matter. And it's also related to my personal experience that I had. So obviously, however, I started the brand with the videos, with just making 2 T-shirts for fun, and the demand was there, which was great. But then developing the videos, first of all, but then also we won the Premier League, which happened to be. And it drew a lot of attention. And I went to the Montfort University here in Leicester for an interview with the students that they have. And they told me, okay, there are 50 students waiting for you in this meeting area over there. So it's going to be a relaxed interview. You're sitting in front on a table with a guy that's interviewing you. They will then ask you questions after. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So we're walking over there, and I'm looking inside, and I'm like, all right. It was like more like 200 people. And, you know, it's a different story playing in a stadium in front of 50,000, or then being in the middle of everything, all eyes on you with 200. And because all I do in the stadium is chasing a ball, there you have to be there, entertain the people. It's about entertainment and talk to them. So it's a different situation. It made me nervous, but wow, I was wearing a No Fuchs Given T-shirt, the orange color, obviously. And I was like, listen, you got to do it anyway, so No Fuchs Given.
I'm a little bit surprised that you were nervous, that the adrenaline came, because you're a natural performer. Like, you're quick, you're witty, you enjoy people.
But it's still developing, you know. Now I would say, yeah, cool, fun, let's do it. But then it was a different story.
A little bit intimidating.
Yeah, exactly.
You could wander out in the Schalke Arena for Leicester in the Champions League semi-final and no problems, really.
No problem, no. But again, that's what I'm saying. This is an example, but we all have, coming back to the point, to the message that I want to send out to all those people, is that we all have uncomfortable situations in our life. It doesn't matter what they are. how small they are, how big they are. But we gotta face them and we gotta do them. We gotta just make the best out of them, and then just don't give a fucks. Yeah.
And your brand is drawing things out of you that you didn't know where they are, like creativity, control, management, choices of the brands.
It helped me that I finished my school in Austria, that I insisted on that, because I went to business school.
Okay.
So I kind of knew, I mean, I had to refresh my mind with all of that again, but it helped me. It helped me to balances, going through numbers, percentages, and whatsoever. But the skills that I learned in terms of doing the videos, where I use Final Cut, working on videos, cutting them, doing everything myself in that terms. Using Photoshop, I know how to use Photoshop. Maybe not on the highest level, but I can design my products.
It's pretty satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
To have a creative urge to create something, to shape it and go, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with what I've done.
Yeah. So the last collection, other than, you know, the big skulls, T-shirts where it's like a lot of roses, very sophisticated designs, that's too much for me. But the simple designs for the last two collections, I did all myself, which is cool. You know, you start with an idea, you bring it to paper, and then suddenly you have the product in your hand. And now you have so many. I mean, we recently, talking in terms of No Fuchs Given, we were at a trade show in New York, and honestly, every single person that went by our stand, they loved the name No Fuchs Given. They always had a smile, which satisfies me already. It works.
Yeah.
And then we have now 7 new locations in America that want our products, that bought our products already, which is amazing to me, because we went into this trade show, okay, let's just be there and get the name out there.
The new guys kind of thing.
But yeah, exactly. But then you have 7 new stores that you're selling in America only, 1 in LA, 1 in Texas, 3 in New York. It's very satisfying.
So the thing that you've had as a goal, which is to be reunited with your family, which is important. You've stated that after this contract, you try and maybe go and play soccer in the States and whatever. Given that you are the brand, and given that it's based on not just your name but your attitude, and you talk the brand not because you're selling it but because it is you.
It's me. Yeah.
Your arrival in the States is going to be big for that brand. But like Neil told me to ask you before we close, if I give you your choice in 5 years' time, are you? And you can't say all of the above. Right? A big fashion mogul, a brand success. Are you an NFL kicker earning unbelievable money for like that auditorium moment when it's all on you and it's not the team and those posts look far away and small?
I want to have this moment. The posts are getting smaller.
Yeah.
Especially from 60 yards.
Or are you leading the assault from a talk show chair? That's your choice in 5 years' time.
So before I add a couple more things to these choices,
get in there.
I need to add one topic that's very much on top, which I'm looking forward to most of all of them. Just being a father that's spending time with the family. I didn't have this in the last 6 years. And seeing the kids like once a month. Now I'm happy my son is here for a month. My daughter is coming over for 4 weeks. Then my older son is coming over for 3 weeks. So that's something that satisfies me the most about going to New York, which I simply cannot wait for. And I think 7 years overall living apart from family should do. And no money in the world can then keep me here in Europe anymore. My values are completely different. So that puts everything for me in perspective. But okay, you gave me the choice of NFL, fashion, being a presenter. There are a couple of other things. Obviously, I have Football Academy.
The Fox Academy, right?
Fox Soccer Academy.
Fox Soccer Academy.
Which is in 3 countries by now, England, USA, and Austria, where we have about 200 to 300 kids per year, which is amazing, where we had already some talent coming out and being pushed to professional teams, which satisfies me, because it's another way of mine to help those kids. Because you mentioned it at some point during that interview, we didn't go too much in depth, but when I was 11, 12 years old, I was assessed not being good enough for.
Told you weren't going to make a
professional.
professional football, yeah.
And literally what I want to do, I want to capture those kids that are also either falling through the system or also being assessed not good enough and getting the exit letter from teams to give them a second chance. That's one of.
Is that part of the reason you've used the Fuchs Soccer Academy to reach out to street soccer as well?
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Though I like their concept because Street Soccer USA, their aim is to provide the best game in the world for free to any kid out there. And you pay a lot of money in New York especially to play football, where I'm not doing it free of charge, but I understand paying money if I get the quality in return. And that's not the case in New York.
Attention, encouragement, teaching.
Exactly. Professional training. I'm providing real training, not only daycare or babysitting. That's not what I want to do. When I do something, I do it right. But then that's another.
It's important. No, it's important.
But then, like I said, I mean, maybe I'm doing some advertising now, but with No Fuchs Given, we're doing esports, for example, now. So I have 4 e-gamers, FIFA players under contract, Singapore, LA, and 2 English lads, which are amazing, really good, really good. It's the business of the future.
People tell me I'm too old. I'm not.
Everybody
what they say in
understands.
Spanish, menospreciar. It isn't going to touch my heart, and it makes me fearful that the street soccer kids and the Fuchs Soccer Academy kids in 20 years, when we're talking again, they're not going to be there.
No,
I don't want to knock it. That's my fear. It is my fear.
I don't believe that because kids still admire those guys in the stadium that are chasing the ball and they want to get there. I just think it keeps football. It supports football.
I'm 22 years older than you.
Yeah,
and when I was young, every pitch, every park was full of people playing. And you go home now to Scotland, and it's been like there's been a nuclear holocaust and nobody's there.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That's frightening.
Yeah.
Listen, so the No Fuchs Given esports is going to be another part of your creative brain as you go on.
Yeah.
Your magazine, which is yet to be launched, but
yeah.
So before we allow you to go and play in the playground with your boy, you didn't choose.
Oh yeah.
And I said it differently. Fashion mogul, kicking the winning point for the Giants in the Super Bowl.
So if I choose one, all the others will be eliminated.
You get one. You don't get all of them. If I say to you, do you want to win the treble? And you say all 3, I say, good boy, fantastic. This is a life choice. You only get one.
I only get one.
Yeah.
I stick to my values. It's going to be No Fuchs Given.
Fashion magnet, smiling skull all over the world.
Whatever comes with No Fuchs Given.
Oh, whatever comes.
I choose No Fuchs Given.
You just
That's
cheated.
Me.
You got all
That's
3.
Me.
You got all 3 with one brand name. Genuinely No Fuchs Given, huh?
I don't give a fuchs. I just become an NHL.
People never defy me in these
player.
interviews until now. You just won the interview.
Thank you, mate.
Christian Fuchs. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so generous.
Thank you.